This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Bill would write, I'm very true to the proud tradition of the old school wrestling that I was brought up on. I was very blessed to be able to live out my dreams, and I have a great respect for the business I'm in, especially for the legends that have traveled the roads before me. They're the ones who made all of this possible, and I'll never forget where I came from. And that is my sweet home forever, Sweet Home, Alabama. Sadly, we lost Bill Moody on March 5th, 2013. He's only 58 years old when we lose him. He had suffered a pretty bad blood clot 3 days earlier while he was at the Gulf Coast Wrestling reunion that took place at the International Speedway in his home city of Mobile. He was a staple there for a long time, and those close to him reported he had not been feeling well for several days before the reunion. And then he caught an upper respiratory infection while he was, doing some dates in Chicago for some meet and greets and things like that. Man, I remember this like it was yesterday. One of the more controversial things that happened not too terribly long after he passed away, less than a month, The Undertaker has got a match with CM Punk, and they're going to use ashes that are supposed to be Paul Bearer's ashes in the urn in an angle. You weren't with the company at the time, but I'm sure you were watching. It lit the internet up. What'd you think of the decision to use Paul's death in a storyline so quickly after he passed?
Well, I do know that his family was consulting. They were all for it. And if you would have asked me, I would have been at the front of the line to say yes, because knowing Bill Moody and his love of the business, his love of the industry, I think that he was smiling from ear to ear to think that he would be involved in something even after he's gone. And had Bill been in the position that the creative people were in then, I think that Bill would have probably come up with every single one of those that people questioned as far as taste wise. I think Bill would have been the first one to say, oh yes, you need to dump my ashes out. Yes. And could someone snort them? I mean, that's the way that he thought. He did give his life for this business. He loved it, lived it. And even in his passing was still a big part of it. So to that, I think anybody that knew Bill Moody would say he would have absolutely loved that and been on board 100%, and would have probably wanted to take it further.
You weren't doing anything or you weren't with the WWE when Bill passes away. You may have still been with TNA for a couple more days, but what do you remember about how you found out that Percy was gone?
I think Michael Hayes called me and told me, but I had been speaking to Bill, and we had just, we still stayed in touch, and we would go back and forth. One thing that people don't know about Percy was he was I called him a computer nerd, but he was very bright, and in the infancy of computers and even later on when I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing, if I ever had a computer problem, I'd call Bill. He taught me how to defragment my computer. He told me about this shit. I don't know, it was before fiber, but it was one of the newfangled things. And it's like, oh God, Bruce, it's like turning a page in a book. It's so fast. After dial up, when I finally got the cable hookup, this is how old us two farts are, that we would go back and forth on those little things. And he was the biggest George Jones fan in the world. As a matter of fact, I think it was Possum Fan was his AOL name on his email and shit. And he traveled all over the country. When he finally got to meet George Jones, he could have gone right then and he would have been the happiest person in the world. But then to take it one step further, he got George's phone number and he became friends with George and his wife. Right up until the day that George passed, and George was supposed to be in Houston for a concert, and Percy had gotten me tickets and to go back and meet George and all this stuff. And George had to cancel because of his health, and he passed a week or two after that. But I remember when they canceled, Percy called me and says, "Hey, Bruce, he's not going to make it. I don't think that George is going to be around too much longer." And then he was gone several weeks after that. Those little things that Percy would walk me through computer shit, just as patient as could be. He was like one of those, when you call for support in India, except he had a southern, instead of, "Okay, what you need to do is you need to talk and click on this." "Well, no, it's a little apple. Has a bite out of it." Percy he had a southern accent. "Bruce, you need to click on the apple up there." "Oh, yes, there you go." When the first technology came out that someone could take over your computer remotely, Bill Moody was the first person took over my computer remotely and fucking started doing shit. Freaked me the fuck out. But he was a good friend. He was a great husband, a great father, and one of the best that the business will ever fucking know. Very sad when he passed, and it was a tough time because he had gone through the death of Diana, and he was so sad, and just the sweetest human being you ever want to meet. Some people would think that he was just crass and mean-spirited, whatever. He wasn't. He was a beautiful human being, and someone that I truly loved and proud to call a friend in the wrestling business.
What do you think his legacy will be in professional wrestling?
It's always going to be, "Oh, yes." It's always going to be as Paul Bearer and the manager of The Undertaker. That will be how people remember him. And to those of us that got to know him, we're always going to remember the George Jones living, smart-ass, ribbing character that was Big Bill Moody. But and the funny thing is you would call him everything. You'd call him Paul. I called him Pooh Bear. Call him just Pooh. Big Bill Moody. And Percy, it just depended upon which one you got on any given day.
He goes in the WWE Hall of Fame in 2014. At the ceremony, Kane inducted Paul Bearer, and his sons, William and Daniel, would accept the induction. And afterwards, The Undertaker comes out in character and pays tribute. Pretty special little Hall of Fame moment there, is it not?
Yeah, very much so. And again, I know that he was looking down and smiling on that because it was special. And he deserved that kind of a special induction.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.